Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, August, I don't even know, August something in the 20s. It might be the 20th, it might be the 21st. I'm so sorry. Losing track of time. If I don't go to work, I usually don't write the date, so I'm not necessarily sure of when the time is. I am starting a couple of minutes early because I have a house full of company upstairs. The weather it's already very humid. I think I said last week we lost our AC about a week ago, and boy, am I finding out how used to it I had gotten. We've been surviving with fans, but I do know the humidity is supposed to rise right up there today, and with that humidity comes extreme heat and storms this afternoon. So anyway, before we do something with my company, I thought that I would share my life today. So I really had a great weekend. I went to a stamping retreat with several of my closest friends. My business trainer held the retreat about half an hour from here, and I had a wonderful time. I'm always inspired to stamp with other people, and that for me is the best part of being a demonstrator. I am always invited to events like this. I always get to stamp with other demonstrators, if not my customers or my friends. And I just had a wonderful time and so inspired, and it's new catalog time. Everybody has new catalog products that they get to play with. So hello to whoever is watching. I want to say before I forget, please like and share my video. I'm hoping that it's going to be something that's going to inspire a lot of people. Today is going to be a fun fold class or demonstration. And I've done a lot of the fun folds already, but I wanted to just share with you. So this weekend I took a class with Jeannie and Joanne, who are downlines team members for Celine, and they are so talented with their fancy fold classes, and I love to take them because boy do they dig up some great folds. So I have two to share with you today. I'd love to share another one, but I haven't mastered it yet, so I'm going to watch the video over and over and over. I'm a very visual person, and I hope to share it with you soon. But I decided to share today the DinoRoar suite and those fancy folds. Before I get started, I wanted to say thank you again for watching. It's almost time for new catalog stuff. I'm going to do my new catalog launch in September. I was going to do it next week. Instead, I'm going to have a regular class, and any of my customers that live nearby that haven't already gotten a catalog can come pick up a catalog. And very exciting. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be saying that, but I am losing my train of thought. The other thing I wanted to share before I forget is that I am doing a retreat with several of my sidelines and downline team members. It's here at my house because I decided to do this last minute. Marilyn, my upline, and I always used to do it together, but because she decided it was a lot of work and she was trying to take her business in a different direction from me, we decided to branch off and do our own thing. So I'm still having the retreat, but because it's last minute, I'm having it at my house. I have room. I can fit 12 people very comfortably upstairs and downstairs. My dogs won't be here for the day, and we have 4 fabulous classes planned for you. I can't wait. I have seen previews of 2 of them, and I'm working on a snowman sampler, and I know that Anne is working on her fall class. Ruth is doing a Halloween class, and it's treats and 3D, and it's something you're not going to want to miss. And Lisa put together a Memories and More card class that we're fitting in as well. So that's the night before Christmas. So it's a Christmas card class, and it'll include the Memories and More class. Anyway, you have until the 28th to sign up for this retreat. It's going to be $55. On the 29th until September 5th, when I'm still able to order stuff, it'll go up to $60. But anyway, I hope you all can join me. And now I am going to start sharing with you my classes for today. So, or my cards, I should say. So, just to warn you, my dogs are on high alert. They've been barking at the squirrels on the bird feeder, the birds on the bird feeder, the dogs walking by. And I hear Minnie squeaking a toy, which means she's really wild. So if you hear them, just try to ignore them, and I will do my best too. And here we go. Okay, so the first class, and the first card that I took this weekend was called an M or W fold. And this is the front of the card. When I flip it down, you'll see it. It says, I told the universe to send some awesome your way. And awesome even has some sparkle. So the M or W fold refers to the fold in the middle. You can see that looks like a W or like an M, depending on how you want to do it. And this is an adorable stamp set from the annual catalog. And I did it with the dinosaur stamp set. So anyway, that's the first card. And the second card, this is called the Peekaboo Tent card, I believe. Peekaboo Tent fold. And this is one I think I have to flip it down so that you can appreciate it, but it's really beautiful. It was an in-color class and it used the different colors. Like I said, I decided that I was going to focus solely on the dinosaur set today. So, and I know what many of you are thinking. I don't have boys. I don't need the dinosaur stamp set. You've got to be kidding. It is so adorable. So stinking cute, as Tammy would say. So anyway, that's how we're gonna put our fold our cards so it goes down flat. So both of them fold flat. It's going to be extra postage, but it's going to be worth every bit of everybody's excitement. So let me see if I can flip you down. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to flip you. So here is the host code for August. If you order $50 with me, I will send you these cards fully made. Thank you to everybody that ordered last weekend with tax-free weekend. I enjoyed placing my tax-free order, and I know that several others of you took advantage of it too, so thank you. If you use the host code, I'm sending you a surprise in the mail. So anyway, this is the DinoRoar Designer Series paper. And it is really cute. Now these are only 2-inch snippets of the paper, so you can't really get a full idea of it, but you can see that it is really cute. And down up here, I wrote the colors that it coordinates with, and the suite as well. So anyway, let me set that aside. This is one of the bigger papers that I really like. Really cute, the dinosaurs. And that leads me to my first card. I said that I did the M or W card, and I did it with the DinoRoar. So this is the front of the card. So if you remember this card, it had just a little square here and the banner, and I decided to take the full front of the card, and I even popped up a little dinosaur here. With this stamp set, this adorable, adorable stamp set, there are matching framelits. And you can't really see that, but this was one of the framelits that I used to cut out this little guy. Added a lot to the side. I can probably even put some rhinestones on there, and I probably will. The card itself says, "Thanks for being a friendosaurus." Now, who has to be a boy to get something like that? That is so adorable. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the inside of the card. And I have to say, I'm actually going to go to Stampin' Up's YouTube video and see what I can do with all of these framelits, because there are so many of them. These look like they cut out some designs. I'm not sure what they do. This maybe does some embossing. This is a spine for one of them. I don't know what obviously the big egg. I don't know what they all do, so I'm going to go to Stampin' Up's YouTube video and find out what all of those different framelits do. So you should too. Okay, so here's the card, and I have 3/4 put it together. So you see what I did was I took a piece of the designer paper, about 2.5 inches. Before I cut the designer paper, I took a square framelit because I knew that I wanted the 1 5/8 square for my my squares here. I knew it was 1 5/8 of an inch. I actually took a pencil and made light pencil marks, and I kind of put outlined the square so that I knew where I was going to place my framelit to cut it, because otherwise, who knows, I'd be just taking a chance. So you can see, I think I left it on this one. You can even see the light pencil marks that I did to outline it. And what I can do is with my eraser, I'm just going to lightly erase it when I'm all done. So I picked out 4 different dinosaur scenes. I loved the tree. It at least got the head in there. There were probably others that I could have chosen, but these are the 4 that I chose. And of course my paper is the egg, and I did it all through the paper. These are 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, all of these pieces. So I can get 3 out of 1 5 1/8 inch strip. So, okay. So now what I did was, I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and on the 2 ends it doesn't matter because they're going to glue down to the sides here. So like I said, I've done all of my stamping already. I probably shouldn't have put it on the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you that it doesn't matter. I have scored this 11 by 1 inch strip of paper in half at 5 1/2, and then I actually flipped it because I like to use my score lines as they are with the mountain or valley folds. You always want to fold with the mountain in the middle, the bump in the middle. So I flipped my paper and then I scored it at 2 3/4, which is half of 5 1/2, and 8 1/4, which is 5 1/2 plus another 2 3/4. Then I had my squares. I have 3 squares, and all 3 of these squares are layered. So this is 1 5/8. The Pretty Peacock squares is 1 7/8. And that also I used a framelit. Actually, I cut it by hand, I have to say, because why use a framelit if I know the perfect measurements? And then the black square is 2 1/8. So these 3 are all layered. And what I did so I could line it up perfectly is I layered them on top of each other. So you can see a little bit. See, they're all lined up. So like I said, it doesn't matter here that I have the glue here, even though I do want it to really stick. So I have to say I'm actually going to put a little bit of sticky strip there too. So because I've got the glue, I'll just put 1 strip across here. And you're going to put the 2 outside squares, you're going to do flush with the end of your card. It actually goes right to the end, okay? So what I'm going to do, actually, to make it really simple, because I've got this one already glued on, I can just close this card. So I'm going to just close this card, and then when I open it, I've got it perfectly glued where I want it. So there you go, your MW square. Isn't that so cute? And the dinosaur paper, like I said, it doesn't have to be for boys. It's just so cute. It can be for great friends. So thanks for being a friendosaurus. You're roarsome. So isn't that cute? And I cut this out with the stitched rectangle framelits, and there's all sorts of sizes. So this is one of the sizes that I used. Let me move this mess out of the way for a second. To me, I brought my stitch framelits here so you could see. These are perfect card front sizes. So if you want to, like I did, I cut out the white framelit, I cut out the white rectangle once I had stamped it, so I kind of knew where I wanted to put it, and then I just did a mat around it. And I like my mats a little bit closer. If I didn't, I could have used this next size up stitched rectangle with basic black, but I like mine a little bit closer. I like a narrower mat around it, so just wanted to show you that. So, and then this is the one I used for my greeting inside, right there. So let me set that aside, but this should be one of the things that is on your wish list if you haven't already gotten it from the new catalog. I have to say I use these stitched rectangles all the time, and I use them for the sizes they are, but I think I've done it in another live as well. If I wanted to make it a little bit smaller, I could cut it out one size and then run it through the Big Shot again, perfectly lined up on the other side, and I could custom make my own size rectangle. So you will not regret having these stitched rectangles ever. Put it on your wish list. I'm telling you, you'll use it over and over and over again. I use all of my stitch shapes, but especially the rectangles and especially, well, maybe the ovals and circles. I don't use the squares as much. But anyway, so this is my MW fold, and I will get it on my blog and on my picture. I'm so sorry. I've had a really, really busy summer between company and traveling and heat and working. I haven't been very consistent, but I don't know if you saw behind me, I did finish those cards with the Northern Lights technique. I'm going to backdate them so they show up before this live, but they will be put on the site, if not today, by Friday. So anyway, so that's the first thing. Now, the next card I showed you is this one, and it's called the Peekaboo Tent card. And it really is a really simple card to do once you know your measurements. So you can kind of see that it sits up like this. And now that mine has been opened and closed enough, it sits nice and straight. And then if I do it like this, I can write my little note, my sentiment can go right here, my to from. And they can have it set up all the time. Look at that. Oh, and then look at that. My rectangle, again, a stitched rectangle, custom made size, was popped up with dimensionals so that I could pop up my little scene here. So anyway, I'm going to take this apart for you so you can kind of see it. What you're going to do, well, let me show you mine first and then I'll show you that one. So let me set this aside. So this is the one I did with the DinoRoar paper. I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of this paper, but I wanted something small enough and consistent that I could turn it every direction, because it doesn't matter which way my dinosaurs are facing, right? So I did it, and in this one, we had used coordinating patterns. If I had the Mango Melody paper, designer paper, the new stacks, I probably would have used it here just to make it a little bit different, because it is a little busy. But alas, I don't have it, so this is what it is. So you can see my guy here, my dinosaur, which I have to tell you, I don't know how old many of you are, but if you've ever watched Barney, I don't know if he's still on. I know a friend of mine has a son who loves Barney and watches it constantly, but this is 100% Barney, just in Pretty Peacock. If I had done him in purple and Gorgeous Grape, he would be Barney. So anyway, you see his arms spread. I love you this much. And I think that's great. I used to do that with my kids all the time. I love you this much too. I love all of you that much. So I love you this much. It's more than it looks. So little guy, but he's full of big love. So this is how we do this. I have here a piece of paper just so I can show you. Okay, so this is an 8 by 8 inch square paper, and I scored it at 4 inches on both sides. So landscape and portrait, I scored it at 4 inches, so it's perfectly in half. So next, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this without my glasses, so wish me luck, because I'd definitely be better off with my glasses. And hopefully I finish this card and I like what I do with it. But anyway, this is lovely lipstick, and this is another paper that I don't have the back, the designer paper stack. So I'm using 2 different patterns from DinoRoar for this. So I have to figure out how this is going to work, because it is going to be a little busy again. And no matter what I do, there are going to be dinosaurs on their side. So anyway, first I've scored it at 4 inches both ways. Then I cut it up to the score line on one side, so it looks like a pair of pants, okay? Then what we're going to do is we are going to take our bone folder and really crease, really burnish those creases. Okay, so I've got that really burnished. Now, you do need a paper cutter for this. Not a paper cutter, but you need the score board, your cutting board with a score blade to do this. It's the best way. There probably are other ways. You could actually, now that I think about it, you could take a ruler and run that. You're going to run from the top middle point down to each side. And that is going to make your folds like that, okay? Because I still have the paper cutter, I'm going to do it. And hopefully I can see the lines enough without my glasses to square this for you. But let's see. We are going to, I'm lining up the top middle point and this middle score line on this edge. I'm going to line that up. I think that's pretty close. Okay, yep, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to repeat that on this side. Middle point down to this score line. And there you go. Now we can set this paper cutter aside because we don't need that except to cut our squares. So I actually simplified this from the class that I took with Gina and Joanne. They had 2 squares that were 3 3/4, 2 squares that were 3 7/8. 2 of them were cut in half, 2 of them weren't. So what I did was I simplified it, and mine are all 3 3/4 inches. I have 4 white squares, 3 3/4 inches. And then I have 3 designer paper squares that are 3 1/2 inches. And 2 of the white squares and 2 of the designer paper squares are going to be cut in half diagonally. The only thing I'm going to tell you right now is I was able to do this because it really doesn't matter which way the pattern goes. If you want to know, if you want the pattern to consistently go the same way, you have to be awfully careful. As you can see here in this card, both of the side pieces are going the same direction. If I wanted them to go sideways, that's how they go. If I want them to go a different direction, that's how I have to pay attention when I'm cutting my squares. So if there isn't, this one is a little bit simpler because it's still, even though it's sideways, I could go up and down if I had to, or, there's not a pattern so that it has to be right side up. I'm going to have a little bit more of a challenge here with this one because there really is a right side on here. So it's almost like I'm going to have to cut an extra 3 1/2 inch square, because if I cut this one in halfway, that covers one side, but it's going to be upside down for the other side, if you see what I mean. So you really do need 4 3 1/2 inch squares if you have a pattern that's going the same way. So I'm cutting 4 3 1/2 inch squares, and now this one, 2 of them are going to be on the diagonal, and maybe there's something on the other side. It's the eggs. But maybe there's something on the other side that I could use to coordinate it down at the bottom. To me, there's not enough pretty peacock in this one to make it coordinating. So this is why I kind of chose this one. Of course, I could do it like that if I wanted to, but I'm trying to do the lovely lipstick. So I will cut another square, and that's how I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do this one in half as well, and that's going to go here and here. Now there's still an extra square down here. If I'm doing it with the Whisper White, there's going to be a square here, and that's going to be where your sentiment is going to go, and you can stamp there. Then there's a square here, and that's your designer paper. And that, as you can see here, is the base for your scene. So I've got my base for my scene right there, another 3 1/2 inch square. And I will probably do this one again. So don't forget, you've got your white, Whisper White, your 4 squares here that are already 3 3/4 inches with 2 of them cut in half, okay? Maybe before I go any further, so you guys can see what I'm doing, I am going to burnish these edges with my bone folder. And you really have to make it crisp. Otherwise, it's, oh, the dogs are going. Sorry, there's probably a friend in the neighborhood out walking. Okay, so we got this, and we've got this. Actually, I want it to go this way because my tent fold is going to, I'm so sorry. So we got it like this. And the more I put it in this position, the better it's going to fold. So I've got my white squares in half layered there. I've got my 2 on each side and my 2 on the bottom. These are 3.5-inch squares cut on the diagonal. This one isn't going to matter because it's going to be, it doesn't really matter which is up and which is down. But I've got another piece here, so we'll whisper white square, and I've got this on the bottom. Ideally, my pattern would go this way, but that's a big waste of paper, so you get what, we're going to have to compromise a little bit here. But because I want this to be almost like a spotlight corner, the tent, when I do my scene, like I did here, you can see I put them at the corner. So now I'm going to tell you what I did. I used the largest stitch circle here, and you can kind of see, let me do it this way so you can see. The largest stitch circle, I did 2 cut, I did 1 cut in half. I used a 3-inch piece of paper and I scored it in half so that I would be able to get a 3-inch circle. It's actually 2 7/8, I believe, for this stitch circle. I'd have to measure it, but it was a 3-inch wide piece of paper that I used. And you can see the score line when I'm going to cut. Pretend this is a circle. This is really hard because this doesn't want to fold flat because it's the perfect size. But when I cut this, you can see the score line right there. You just make sure that that score line is inside the framelit. So pretend this is a circle. I'm cutting that. It's inside the circle, so I'm still going to have a double circle here. And then I've got that score line, and that's what I'm folding in half for the top. And then I went to my scoreboard, and I pretty much scored this in half. And you've got to just use your best guess. It's not going to be exact. It's okay. You'll live. They're going to appreciate the handmade card. You can see mine, it actually peeks out over top because I was probably a little bit more generous on the bottom than on the top piece. It isn't perfectly in half. Like I said, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. So we've got this, and then I cut out another circle. And on this card, we did 3 stitch circles, so 1 glued to the other. For me, the Mango Melody was too much because there's already a lot of Mango Melody, and the green, because I had a green dinosaur, was too much as well. I tried stamping him in Mango Melody, and first of all, he kind of blended into the rest of the card, but I have to tell you, a Mango Melody Barney does not work. So we've got a green Barney, so I did a white stitch circle. Underneath here, you can see it a little bit better on this card. We have a scalloped circle, and it's just the next size up from your stitch circle. But here you can see that I did a Mango Melody one. White would have been a lot. So I did that, and then this is where I custom made my label here. I love you this much. It's more than it looks. I cut this out by placing the left edge of my framelit, which is, I don't have it here because I think it's still by the Big Shot. And you definitely are going to need a die cutting machine. I'm sorry Stampin' Up! Doesn't buy it. They're available everywhere. You can come use mine, whatever you want to do, but you need a die cutting machine. And I know Stampin' Up's working on a solution, and I know it's going to be awesome, but until then, use your old stuff. So anyway, I cut here to the left of that sentiment, and then I ran it back through the Big Shot, doing it perfectly straight, perfectly lined up. And you can pretty much, those guides, those little stitches really line up together. I put it again on this side and ran it through that way. And that's how I custom made my size, like I was talking about before. I popped it up with dimensionals, and then I got my little Barney here. And here I stamped the tree. There was one paper that used old olive ferns for the palm tree, or palms for the tree, and it had a pretty peacock base. It was too much for this, so we had to go traditional. So I will write, dear, whoever is buying $50 from my store using this host code, they can write, dear, my best friend, I love you this much. my husband, my son, my daughter, my niece, my grandmother. I love you this much. Love, Jeannie, or whoever is sending it. So these are the cards. I will be posting them to the Facebook page, and it really is pretty simple to make. It's just a little time consuming. I made them last night at midnight so that I'd have something to share with you, so I know you guys can do it too. Love you so much. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to flip back for a second. Oh, hi, Debbie. How are you? I miss you. We're going to have to get together sometime. But anyway, these are my cards. Sorry about the dogs. Love you all to pieces. Can't wait till next week. And I have no idea what it is. We'll see. Bye.